Alright, are you ready to start?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
I'm gay.
Hello everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Claire's Based Talkathon. I am your host, Claire, and today we are having a return guest, my sibling Katherine. The topic is a 6-letter word, so Katherine, you try to figure out your starting guess while I tell the people at home what's going on. Basically, I have a topic in mind, and my guest here has no clue what we're going to be talking about. So, they're going to have to solve. They're going to provide a 6-letter word. I'll tell them which letters are in the word and if they are in the correct position or not. And then they can use that information to make further guesses until they get to the topic. And then we just talk about that for the rest of the time. Katherine, do you have a first guess?
6-letter word.
Yes, 6.
I'm really used to it, so I can only think of 5-letter words.
I'm gonna have to censor that out.
Can I get an example? Can I get an example of a 6-letter word?
Farted. Like fart past tense. Farted.
I was gonna play shitted, but that's 7.
SHITT. You could do shitty. Jesus Christ, Just, let's just pick a word, man. Gotta get this started. Come on. I can't hear you. Okay, it's not a joke anymore. Like, your mic isn't working.
My mic isn't working?
Okay, now I can hear you. What were you saying?
I just wasn't saying anything.
Oh, fucking Christ.
I was just sitting blankly, trying to think of a 6-letter word.
God, Jesus Christ. Okay, well, try and come up with an actual 6-letter word. In the meantime, I'll give a bit of context. Katherine is my sibling. They're a little bit older than me. A few years. They're in college right now. Majoring in economics. And they've been on the podcast once before. We talked about women. Who knows what we're going to talk about this time? I do. I know. I'm the one who came up with the topic. So if you want to see that, you can check out the channel, Claire Theswitch. If you want to see potentially more episodes with them, subscribe to the Claire Theswitch YouTube channel. Katherine?
Okay. I would like to play the word change.
Change. Alright, the C is an L. Absolute loss.
So there's no C?
There's no C. H is awful. Terrible guess. A is pretty good, but you're not in the right spot. CHANG. N is in the same boat, where it's in the word but not in that spot. G is a complete loss. E is terrible.
Okay. Is it woman again?
No, unfortunately, it is not. Do you want to guess that though?
Yeah, I'm gonna play it anyway.
Okay.
You're my captive while I just sit here and make bad guesses. So.
That's 5 letters.
Woman's. Just slap an S on the end.
Woman's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A W is terrible. O, nope. M, nope. A, wrong place. N, wrong place. S, wrong place.
Okay, so we got A and S.
So, think about that for a second. If you want to see more from me, I also have a TikTok at Claire Theswitch on TikTok. I also have a SoundCloud, Claire Theswitch, where I don't post super regularly on either of those, but you can see more of me there. And yeah, I post on this YouTube channel every Monday, but I also do live streams on Sundays at 11 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Katherine.
I want to play the word family.
Family?
Yeah. This is a strategic move, I swear.
Okay. F is not there. A is in the correct spot.
Oh my god, finally.
M is not in the word. I is in the correct spot.
Ooh.
L is not there. And Y is in the correct spot.
Y is in the correct spot.
Yes. Okay, and now while you're coming up with your final guess, I'll do the last main bit that I need to cover. Catherine, did you know that 69% of adult Americans have less than $1,000 in savings?
I did not know that.
Yeah, you did. We did an episode before. So for about 6 months, I've been using, as of recording, I've been using this app called Yada. It's a mobile banking service that offers like a sweepstakes savings account along with normal interest rate savings. And it's worked really well for me. I've made some good money off of it. The way it works is that for every $25 you put in, you get a ticket every week that can win up to 10 million bucks. And it's all FDIC insured with no required fees, so you're never going to lose the 25. If that sounds something you'd be interested in, you can use code SWITCH when making your account to get 100 free tickets on your first drawing. And those referrals will help me out by sending me bonus tickets as well. So thank you if you do that. Additionally, if you want to even out the odds a bit, there is a pool system. So you can join my pool using code SWITCH, and any tickets you put in will be added to the pool. The money will be distributed based on how many tickets you put in. If you put in half the tickets, you get half the money. If you put in 20% of the tickets, you get 20% of the pot. And it makes it a little bit more reliable, along with being more of a community thing. So, also, I just want to say, Yada has not sponsored this, but I am receiving tickets from referrals. Be very clear about that. Katherine.
Are you ready for my guess?
I'm ready for your guess.
Okay. My final guess is SANITY.
SANITY?
That's my guess.
SAN SANITY?
Is it not SANITY? Because I was like so convinced that I was right about this.
So S is in the right place. A is in the right place. N is in the right place. I is in the right place. T is in the right place. Y is in the right place. I was trying to throw you off there. It is. Okay,
SANITY. I was like, dude, I don't know any other
words. I don't know any other words. So the topic is sanity. I want to talk about the concept of sanity, and like what that means from like a personal perspective, because obviously, like, there's the, sanity refers to like, being sane is defined culturally. So, just starting off, Catherine, would you consider yourself sane?
Um,
Are
I guess
you
largely yes. Um,
bigly?
Functionally yes. Uh, but I definitely I've had periods where I would say no, but I think currently I'm functionally sane.
Mm. I disagree, but definitely.
You would say I'm not sane.
The joke is this is just me bullying you for like an hour.
This is an
Um,
intervention,
this is an
actually.
intervention, actually. But no, for real. No, like I think, yeah, like I've had a similar experience where, like, right now I feel like I'm the most sane I've been for a while. Perhaps the most sane I've been, like, in this current moment. Definitely not the most sane I've ever been in my whole life. But like these past few months, some point I've hit a recent high. But but that's because of like in like middle school and shit, I was fucking borderline insane. And I mean that in a way, not to, I don't mean this as like a like a I don't want to, like, I want to talk about sanity in a way that isn't just about like mental issues and like targeting them and trying to like pinpoint them. I want to focus more on like the personal, like what's it like to realize and like cope with your own issues and how that can affect your sanity. Like for me, I think some of the weirdest moments in my life are when I realize that I've been doing something and there's like a name for it and I've never known it. I had an experience like that, last night? Um, I was talking to you, Catherine. We were talking about how, I was talking about how I will stop talking when I get really upset, and you were like, that's going nonverbal. And it was like, in a way, it was like, oh, that's good to know that that's like a way I can refer to this. But also, it was like, oh my god, why didn't I figure that out? Why didn't I put those pieces together? And it felt like I was insane, you know?
Yeah, I guess like I did the same thing probably about a year ago when I realized that the shutting down and feeling unable to talk is just going nonverbal.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's a thing that exists. It's not it's not the default. It's a thing
But
that happens.
it's a thing that people deal with, and it's a
Hmm.
recognized trait that humans, like exhibit sometimes.
Right, right. And like, I think that that concept is like that concept of questioning your own sanity by realizing you fall into a group, especially when you're in denial of it, applies most strongly to being trans. I was like when I was early in my transition, before any sort of medical stuff, just like like telling my really close friends, way before even you knew. Like, I was like constantly, effectively gaslighting myself. I was like, I can't trust my own feelings? How do I know that they're justified? How do I know that my actions and their consequences are based in reason? And my default was always no. My default was no, I am not acting rationally. And I felt like I was fucking losing my mind, you know?
I mean, I guess I have a little bit of a different perspective on reason and rationality. Like, I don't
Mm,
see reason as a component of sanity. Um, because I like don't like believe that there's any true reason or rationality. Um,
fair. But,
yeah, like
mm,
so like yes, but I guess I wouldn't call it. I just would use different language to describe that experience.
mm, right, right. Cause for me, it's always a matter of a feeling I can't trust myself, you know? Like, um, like the reason I say I feel sane in general these days is because I'm much more confident. I'm not, for a significant portion of my life, I wouldn't say a majority, but for a very large part of my life during middle school and high school, I was like extremely uh, socially, I had extreme social anxiety. And I would like, I it wouldn't be an always thing, but like I have so many memories of having like hanging out with friends, being me silently sitting in a corner and everyone else talking. And it was this very much like, it felt like I was fucking insane. It felt like I was not functioning with, with like with my like it almost is like uh, it's like people talk about out of body experiences. It's like an out of mind experience where it's like
Yeah,
I'm not able to think. My
yeah,
thoughts don't matter, and the thoughts I'm having aren't mine. It's fucking bizarre, and so that's what for me that's what it means to feel crazy, you know, to feel nuts, like it's just like that idea of feeling out of place in your own head, um, and like I guess like I mean I like recently I've been able to get more confidence in myself and be less anxious about things, and I feel so much more present and at home with my mind that like I don't know, by comparison it makes those memories it makes me feel even crazier back in the day, like looking back on it, I'm like, oh, this is how I can be today. That's how I was. Holy shit, I was nuts.
hmm hmm
But that's also just part of aging, growing up and growing out of bad habits.
yeah. I mean, I was also a very quiet person and like an ignored and overlooked person. Um, I guess for me, like that process of like, oh wait, there's a different like way to be, and the way that I was being was pretty like extremely not what I want. Um, I've always kind of like put that into terms of like justification of self, where like you get to a certain point where you can actually start not just being like a reaction to other people, and not
Mm,
just feeling like your thoughts are like you're like a just a regurgitation of something else that somebody has said. Um,
that's part of it as well. Yeah, that reaction to others. When I'm not feeling socially anxious, or like when I used to not feel socially anxious, I would just fucking rubber band off of everyone else. And I just wouldn't have like my own personality.
I know
Uh,
that that feeling is one of the things, one of the times where I have felt like insane is
right.
where I'm like, I'm not even existing right now because I'm just like this, like, I don't know, echo,
Right.
of
I
somebody
only
else.
exist as a social thing and not as like a brain and a soul and a spirit.
Oh, we're doing separation of soul and spirit and brain. Interesting.
Yes. Body, spirit, soul, brain, balls,
Boobs.
tits, ass,
Fucking dump truck ass.
cock. Anyways, yeah, I think that like in our family, I mean, I'm not sure if this was. I feel like this is a thing for both of us, but for me particularly, I tend to think of like in the past I've tended to think about my own sanity in terms of like tabletop RPG rules because my family would always make jokes about that. Like in the game Call of Cthulhu, there are things that make you lose sanity. And so, when something bad happens in the news, my dad will be like, that made me lose sanity points. You know?
Literally, our entire household is comprised of Chiaki Nanami Kinnies.
Please elaborate. Who's that?
That this one is this goes out to the Danganronpa 2
Fuck
fans out there.
off. Jesus Christ. If you're a fan of this, if you're a fan of this podcast and Danganronpa,
Which
you are not sane.
I know that I think it's supposed to be Danganronpa, but like in the game it sounds like Danganronpa to me. So like
Danjamaropa.
anyway, the point is, uh, we are all constantly thinking in video game like analogies, which is like her main personality
Right.
trait.
I mean, didn't you the other? Well, here's and that's another thing is like trying to understand other people's sanity. You'll tell me about like what the fucking Sims needs bars.
Oh, that yeah, the Sims need bars. Like mental visualization is one of the most useful strategies that I have for coping with reality and for taking care of myself.
So you
And
literally, yeah.
I like actually have to visualize my needs as like a set of bars that go down throughout the day, or I will not know what to do next, and then just start getting mad at myself for not being able to do things. And then I'm like, oh well, I haven't looked at my need bars in a while. Oh dude, I haven't eaten. That's why I'm feeling so terrible, right? So I just get mad at myself because I'm like, oh, I need to keep working, unless I realize that I also have to address the Sims need bars. So
You sound like fucking Patrick Bateman, dude.
you can always be better.
Jesus. But like I think and the thing with that is that it's like people will talk about mindfulness, being aware of what your body needs, and then we'll hear that and be like, "Oh my god, please go touch grass." But ultimately, they're one and the same. You're reflecting and focusing on your needs and what demands your body has for you. It just so happens to involve a fucking Sims like heads up display. to help you cope with it.
I do a
And
lot of social coping through Sims ideas as well.
fucking injecting copium through the Sims 4 DLC packs.
Listen, I didn't even have the DLC. Okay, anyway.
I thought you did. I thought you got one of the DLCs. Wasn't there like a nightclub DLC?
That was Sims 3. Sims 4, I didn't have any
Sims
DLC.
3. I feel like
Sims
Sims
3 is the
3.
best game, though.
Yeah, I feel like Sims 3 was your favorite.
Yeah, it was the best one.
Yeah, I think I don't think I've ever had to like had that like other than sanity points. I don't really think about real world things in terms of video games. Like even
The don't starve sanity points in particular are what I think of.
yeah, where it's like you have to if you wear a flower crown, it'll kind of help, but it doesn't help very much.
You can do the little things to help.
Right. You
Yeah.
can but like the big things are like Starfire, get warm, get a cute little coat and sleep. Take a
But
nap.
I do so many little, uh, decorative things. That's a lot of like the cute little stuff that I buy and things from. I'm obsessed with capsule machines and stuffed animals and little cute toys and stuff and claw machine prizes because they give me a couple of, points on the sanity scale. It's not a lot, but you surround yourself with enough cute stuff and it's like, okay, at least we've got
Right.
something.
Right. And I think that I mean that's why people have pets. you know? Pets are a great way to get sanity points and a great way to rejuvenate the spirit, like
Yeah,
a cute little
anything,
dog.
yeah, like,
So sweet.
there's so many different ways to get happiness. There's not one prescription.
Happy penis. But yeah, there's not one way to get happiness, definitely. And I think that, like, thinking about it, like, ultimately, like, I think that, like, the concept of measuring sanity is, like, while it can be good in day to day life, in terms of, like, social interaction, it's, and, like, in interacting and trying to understand other people, I feel like it's useless, you know?
Like
Like,
you're talking about how it's silly to try to like quantify an idea like sanity.
exactly. Same thing with IQ. It's like, just fucking understand another person's perspective for once in your life. You don't need to put a number on it. There is no, you can't assign someone a number for how idiosyncratic they are.
Well,
Like
okay,
that's something I personally believe in.
I've got a really great econ lecture lined up for this one
Are you
because
comfortable talking about it on the podcast?
yeah, like this is just
Okay.
kind of some conceptual econ stuff. So
Okay.
like not even
Conceptually.
exclusive to econ, but just kind of to this field of like trying to like there's tons of other sciences that run into situations where you're trying to quantify something that isn't quantifiable.
Right.
Um,
Not by traditional means.
yeah, like, how happy are you with your government? There's not a
Mm-hmm.
number that you can actually assign to that, right? So there's all these different ways to try to get around that issue. Um, in econ, one of the most, classic ways is ordinal, like measurement, which is just like you put
Right.
something on a spectrum and it's like it's either more or it's less. There's not
Right.
actually
That's
an
yeah.
amount.
It's like the whole premise of tier lists, where
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not
it's like
saying just in comparison to this other thing.
mhm. Yeah, so it's like a particular type of data, and it's really useful in these sorts of like things where you can't get a hard like cardinal number, and the
So,
The thing that
for example, ordinal data would be like, you are more insane than me, but I am more insane than the entire population of the Earth, except for the two of us.
yeah,
Right?
and you
Yeah.
don't know what you don't necessarily know what the difference is between the individuals, but you
Mm,
know if they're more or less.
right. And when you have those groupings where it's like, I think that this party is versus this party, political parties, that's going to be way less reliable than ordinal list of like members of a party, presidential candidates, or Congress representatives, things like that.
Well, you can do a surprising amount with data that doesn't have hard numbers. There's tons of
Exactly.
stuff that you can do with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing that this really was reminding me of, the other day, my econ professor was talking about
Dox him,
how
dox him.
I'm not going to dox him. Was talking about how
Worst podcast host.
the federal funds rate, which is the rate at which banks lend to each other at, um,
Mm-hmm.
the Fed is less concerned with what the level is and more concerned with how the level changes. So the rate of the federal funds rate, like what is it increasing, is it decreasing, and like to what degree, that's way more important than what the amount actually is because it's all relative.
Right.
So like, oh, it was this high in the eight, or it was this level in the 80s, and then it was this level. Comparing those levels doesn't really mean anything. What matters is
Right.
measuring rates of change. And I feel like that's a similar concept with sanity, that it's like you can't understand what level of sanity you're at, but you can get a sense of whether you're getting better or worse or staying the same and
Yes.
take that into
Exactly.
account.
Exactly. I think that is a perfect way to put it. Like, yeah, you
To put
should
it in super dorky monetary
put in
policy terms.
fucking nerd terms. Jesus, man.
Sorry.
But yeah, no, I think that that's a good way to think about it, and I think that's the best way to think about it for like self improvement. Because I know
Hmm.
when I want to improve and I'm trying to help myself be better, I try to account my mental state, and like there is really no way to put it other than the waves. You know, you are like, at this point of time I was worse than I was at this other point in time.
Hmm.
That's like
Hmm.
the only meaningful way to calculate it. um
Yeah, 100%.
mm,
And I think that goes just for the entirety of like self-improvement and self-reflection
mm.
is,
Oh
do I feel
yeah,
better now? Am I feeling better? Or am I feeling
exactly.
worse?
I think a perfect example of that, and something that I think people don't want to talk about, like a lot of people seem to not recognize, is that diet culture is still really prevalent and is like fucking making people do shit that is completely irrational, but they're convinced that it is. And so it's that concept of you think you're acting rationally and you don't think you're insane. You don't think you're acting stupidly. You don't think you're doing something wrong either. But in reality, you're falling exactly into the hands of some corporation that's selling you a product that's going to make you fatter. And you're going to say, ooh, boo, I wish I wasn't fat anymore. So then you do more shit and you feed into the system over and over. And it
I mean, that can
drives
be
you.
said
Yeah.
about a lot of things that we do,
Mm.
right?
I
There's a
mean, that's
ton
like,
of things that
yeah.
we don't realize are detrimental to ourselves in some way, and that's, I think I was talking to you about this a little while ago, that I think life is kind of a constant balance game, and you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
I think like it's an important thing to recognize that none of us will ever be doing everything right. We'll always have things that we're doing that are irrational or are detrimental or are wrong, like in some way.
Except for Jesus.
Except for Jesus. Yeah.
You're a
But that's
Protestant,
because
right?
he's dead.
What?
No, I'm not a Protestant.
I thought you were a Protestant.
No, I'm not a Protestant.
No, last time you said you were a Protestant.
I use Protestant vocabulary because of where I'm from,
I use
but
Protestant pronouns.
Protestant
My
pronouns.
pronouns are Jesus. Sus.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Got
I
him.
love my favorite chord.
Anyway,
Is the sus
no,
sus chords.
if I had to choose one religious affiliation, it would be like deism.
I don't know what that is.
Deism is like you think that there's a deity that exists that governs some like spiritual realm, but is not like directly impacting our daily lives. There's different definitions of deism, but like classical deism was like Enlightenment thinkers who were like, God is probably out there, but not listening to our prayers, you guys.
Right? Like that concept of God being the world creator but not the world watcher.
Yeah. Like I don't think
Mm,
God isn't keeping like tabs on us
right.
right now. But
And
I
yeah,
am a
whatever,
spiritual
yeah.
person.
Well,
But
whatever.
I'm more of a transcendentalist. So
God, this is bringing me back to fucking English class.
this is becoming a religion podcast
Mm.
episode.
Well, but I think religion plays into sanity a lot as well. I mean, there
Oh
is,
yeah.
well, I mean, the whole concept of banding together under one religion is an effort to, maintain community mental state, you know? Like, I think that, you know, I've talked about this before on the podcast, but like, religion is first and foremost a community thing, you know? There are, there are no major religions that are based on the individual who never interacts with anyone ever and has no connection to other people. Like, uh, I don't know what the term would that for that would be even be like isolationist religions don't become popular, which makes sense. Um, and it's like this concept of sanity is kind of, even if it isn't directly acknowledged by it, it is like to be in a community and all working together and believing the same things is an effort to maintain and improve sanity. You know, like that is one of the biggest things that hanging out with people and doing things together does is boost your mental. You know.
I guess like I have a very uh like concrete opinion of the like pursuit of like we're talking here about sanity, but also like stability, happiness, love, like, peace with the world,
Right. Yeah. Peace.
enlightenment, nirvana. I would put them all in one category of
Something's
pursuit.
in the way.
Wait, what's
Hmm.
what's the
Something's
one?
in my ass.
Yeah. That's a good version. Um,
Anyways, yeah.
I would put all of those things in one bundle of like what humans seek and pursue.
Right.
Our
Outside
relentless
of
drive to,
food, water, and sex.
well,
Right.
I think that those things are things that are you just pursue on the journey, right? But you have to have those things also.
Right.
In Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you have to pick up the food, water, sex stuff, and you keep
Food, water,
pursuing
and
those things
sex.
while you pursue a goal of
Right.
happiness. And you can be somebody who has shelter and has water and a space around you and food and some other
Mm-hmm.
people, other animals around you that make you happy and be completely content, right? So there doesn't have to be something other than just those like
Right.
things around you that make you feel
Right.
peaceful, because those are all in the basket of things that make humans happy.
Right. Right.
Like I think it's kind of a mix and match of what we do individually to make ourselves happy, but it's always got some core elements. And
Yeah.
community and connection to other people and to other animal species is always on the roster of like things that you have to do to be happy.
Yeah. Like, I think that a lot of times, like historically, there's been a lot of there's like this concept of civilization versus tribalism, where it's like
Savagery.
exactly, but and then it's like this concept that's like if you go on an island with a bunch of boys, you'll lose your fucking mind for some reason. For
You'll all
some
eat each
reason,
other.
you'll all start shitting and farting and pooping and murdering each other and pooping, and it's like,
It's
but
true. I've
but
done it.
but no, the point is that ultimately what like a European society does to hang out with people and what a tribalist society does to hang out with people, they're all fundamentally, you know, they're all trying to fulfill that spiritual need to be sane, to be happy.
Everybody just wants to be happy.
Yeah. And except for masochists.
Even masochists. I say that as one myself.
Okay, guys, we are ending the podcast early. God. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Yeah.
I say this as a masochist and as a cannibal.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing that you should talk about. Why are you a cannibal?
I would do an entire podcast episode about cannibalism.
We are doing that right now. Tell me.
No, dude, we only have like 20 minutes left. I can't cover all my thoughts on cannibalism.
We have 15 minutes left. You can cover some.
Okay,
Just
no. We're saving the cannibalism conversation.
No, just Katherine, please, just like here, I'll get you started, all right? So, in my experience, I don't think I've ever genuinely wanted to eat someone in my life. Not eat a part of someone, not eat, a living person and let them live.
Well,
Not
no,
eat
they're
a
not gonna
dead
be
person.
alive. Yeah, they're not gonna be alive.
Doesn't matter the circumstance, I would never want to eat someone else. But at the same time, I participate in the act of auto-cannibalism, which is where you like bite your nails and stuff. And so I'm kind of in that predicament where I'm like, I kind of feel like a hypocrite. But on the other hand, you participate in both, right?
I've eaten another person.
I'm going to.
Not yet.
I'm gonna edit so. I'm gonna edit so that the never is not there. So it's just I've eaten another person.
No, okay, listen. It's not that I want to eat another person. It's that
They look yummy.
find okay, listen.
No.
I could literally talk for 3 hours about cannibalism. I am a person who is very, very interested in taboo, like cultural, social taboo, and I have put very, like, way far too much mental, energy into studying taboos because I'm so interested in them.
Oh, right, because you're
And
autistic.
sure, maybe it's that, or it's just that I'm a little bit of a freak,
You're a little bit
and
quirky. You're a crooked up white boy who's going
I'm a
with the
corked
sauce.
up white boy who's interested in cannibalism more than I should be. I infamously to myself and the people who know me, wrote that play about incest because
Hey,
I
hey. uh,
because I'm so interested in engaging with taboos and like
okay.
being gutsy enough to deal with them and engage with them.
That's something we could talk about for a whole fucking episode. Is your
This is what I'm
goddamn
saying is that
theater
is that
escapades?
I think that I think that we should do another podcast episode and the word should be taboo because I could talk about taboo for a very long time.
I could probably talk.
And
I'll figure something out.
from like an artistic perspective and from a spiritual perspective, I'm very intrigued by why some things are taboo,
Right.
what we can learn from taboos.
And I think,
Um,
but I mean, I think that also it works well for the topic of sanity because by talking about taboo, people will question whether or not you are sane.
I
You
think
know?
that I'm pretty sane and I engage with taboo very frequently. And so for a lot of people, they hear something like that and they immediately write me off as
Right.
insane. Yeah.
I mean, you are a fucking they them lesbian.
Don't knock it till you try
No.
it. uh, Basically, like, I think that taboos are one of the best ways to strengthen your sanity because you don't understand something unless you know the opposite of it, right? Like you don't know happiness unless you know sadness. You don't know hardship unless you or like you always have to feel the bad part to really feel the good part.
Okay,
So to
that's a good
understand,
actually. That's a good topic for not debate because I don't want to debate, but like I that's something I would like to go into a little bit because it's like I feel like it's not a given that that's a truth for many people. This concept of you need to feel the bad to feel the good, and
I personally in my philosophy think that it's true.
like psychologically, to my understanding, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But like, oh, it's so unintuitive for me. It feels so wrong. You know, like it feels like it should just be you get an input that is positive and you're happy with it. But no,
But
it's like
nothing is innately positive, right?
I mean,
Every
other than getting your dingaling slurped on. I mean,
well,
you have neuron activation.
well, yeah, there's things that in a sensory level feel good. That's just
Right.
true. But I'm talking more about experiences beyond just a sensory input. Well, all experiences are sensory input, but you get to a certain level where the inputs are really complex and there's a lot going on with an interaction. So if you're somebody who's eating another person, that's a pretty extreme situation to be in. What are you experiencing and why are you feeling that? That is such an interesting topic, right? Like just
I'm
diving into
nutting.
the psychology of like how do you get to that point? Why is it happening? What culture is it taking place
I'm
in? In some
shitting and pissing
situations,
and farting.
in some situations and cultures, that's totally fine. And to other people, it's the
Mm,
most repulsive thing that they've ever heard. So I
yeah.
just think that engaging with that and why that happens is like one of my favorite areas of like study, really.
Okay, well, as someone who studied this, here's a question for you. If you were offered the chance to eat a human cadaver, a human corpse, with someone who had consented to it beforehand, before they passed away, um, it's prearranged, would you eat that person?
I think that you know what the answer is.
But
Don't make me say it. I think you know. I don't
okay,
want there to be a video of me on the internet having to say it.
no, I'll say it with you.
No, the point is that like
No, my
there's
point is
a
that no, what my point is that do you think that doing that would make you lose your mind?
no.
No, you think you would handle the psychological factors? You think that
I think
you could
I
handle it?
think I would understand what is happening, um, and be in control during the process. And again, I'm not saying that this is a hypothetical, okay?
So, but like, how would you want
For
them
the
prepared?
record,
How would you want the body prepared for you? Like, would you cook it
okay,
yourself?
no. If you want me to talk about cannibalism, this has to be its own episode. I'm not going to get into this.
It's own
Not
no.
boiled, not boiled is the
Oh
answer.
God.
Anything other than boiled, because
Smoked
when people go for boiled, it's never good.
smoked salmon.
Uh,
Oh, I just realized that means. Oh, no, never. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna stop thinking now.
okay.
Um,
Uh,
but yeah. Yeah. I think that like. Yeah, like there are many things that. Well, I mean, there's like the concept of sanity with like war, where people are like, I'm gonna go to war and I don't think I'm gonna lose my mind, and then they go home and are like completely fucking traumatized and can't like
oh yeah,
sleep anymore.
yeah.
And it's like, you know, what level of study would prevent that? I don't think there is a level, personally.
No, I don't think that there is. This is something where I don't think that there are any lines that we can draw around it that will
Mm,
capture all truths. Um, but
mm.
I like when I talk about things like I would eat another person, I would eat another person, I would eat another person, or I would do something really extreme and absurd and
Mhm.
ridiculous and to a lot of people traumatizing. What I mean is that I kind of want to like push the boundaries of my experience as a human being, and
You
there's
want to push the
like kind of
cultural zeitgeist through your own action?
the cultural zeitgeist, but also just my own ability to handle stuff, right? Like you
Mm.
purposefully expose yourself to weird stuff and you
You
go
should
through
get
the
on
process of
Jackass.
experiencing it. It's kind of like that.
It's like
There's like
Jackass,
a
but with
large
cannibalism.
there's like a large like philosophy of like people who are kind of extremists in that way, like extreme experience seekers who do
Mm.
really out there art
I
or
mean,
really out there stuff in
I
order
mean,
to
Markiplier does
expand their
that shit all the
mental,
time. Yeah.
Germa does that stuff all the time.
But I know what you're saying. Like, there are people who are like within the popular cultural sphere, and they do shit like intentionally subject themselves to pain for the sake of a new experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I think is pretty groovy. Obviously not for everyone, and that's not a bad thing, but if you find yourself kind of like bored by real life every day,
Is this
it's
your
kind of a
advice
fun thing to
section?
do.
Is this the advice? Hey
Yeah, this is
guys.
my
Hey guys, welcome to Claire
if
Space
you're
Talkathon.
bored,
If you're
no,
bored,
but if you're feeling like the world doesn't make sense, just try doing it a different way. And those really extreme experiences are one alternative course that's out there.
listen, find an old man. He won't be able to like fight back. And
I'm not saying to eat an old man.
and I mean, he's probably doesn't have any family anyways. You might want to do some research to begin with, but honestly, you're just going for the rush, you know?
Okay, for the record, once again, I am not a cannibal.
You're only a consensual, hypothetical cannibal.
I'm a theoretical cannibal.
Um, But aren't you also allergic to sunlight?
I am a vampire, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah. How do you feel
not
about
not
garlic?
not getting not getting like good points for me in the I'm not a
Yeah.
vampire category.
I feel like it's not a matter of sanity at this point. I think it's a matter of you being an actual Leviathan monster.
Okay, listen, you shouldn't have asked a vampire for advice on sanity.
Yeah, hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. Today I have Count Dracula. What do you think about the current economic climate? I think it is not so good. You know, I want to suck.
Yo, gay Dracula?
God, we're literally fucking idiots. Okay. I think the point is that, um, like quantifying, like my understanding of your point is that we shouldn't quantify our experiences in terms of sanity based on what the culture decides for us, but rather by what makes us happy.
Yeah, you shouldn't let anybody around you write the rules, right? Like the world is a incredibly strange and vast, planet that we inhabit, and we are just one strange species that lives on it. And there is not a right way to exist, and there is not a definition of human sanity. The goalposts are always shifting. Our cultural concepts of what makes people happy, are always shifting. Um, yeah, just go out and do whatever weird stuff makes you happy as long as you're not, hurting anybody else. That's kind of my perspective on happiness slash
And
sanity.
if what you does make you, if it makes you happy and doesn't make other creatures less happy, then that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, that's like, sure, go
Right?
for it. That's kind of my
Yeah.
policy.
That's the best anyone can hope for, I think, is doing things
I,
that are good for you and aren't bad for other people.
yeah, yeah. And like, there will always be things that really suck. And there's so much of happiness pursuit and sanity pursuit that's just dealing with all of the stuff that sucks.
Right. I
But
think
if you
yeah,
if you know what you are and what you're doing in the middle of that sucky situation, I think, that's a good just tactic for getting through stuff.
right, right. Like I think, like I know in my for a specific example of this, when our grandmother passed away, I felt crazy because I wasn't having like a physically shown emotional reaction. I didn't feel like super invested emotionally. And I was sad, but I felt like I wasn't expressing it. I wasn't feeling it enough. I was like, yes, I am extremely sad, logically, but
Hmm.
I just couldn't feel it. And I think that that's a great example of like me falling for that trap of like the societal expectation, you know?
Yeah, where it's like you must react to this in this way right now, or you're not doing the right thing. And that
Exactly.
is always just one route, not like the route.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's about it for today's episode. Thank you so much, Catherine. I had a great time. Do you have any
Whoop
closing
whoop.
comments?
Um, everyone should go. I don't know if you have to censor this, but everyone should go watch Taika Waititi's new gay pirate show on
Not
HBO Max.
sponsored, not
Not
sponsored.
sponsored, but Taika, if you're out there, my phone number is.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna I don't think he'll ever watch this. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Please feel free to subscribe, like the video, leave a comment letting me know what you want to hear me and Katherine talk about next, or any particular guests you want to see, if you want to be on the podcast even. Hell, who knows?
I want to be on the podcast.
You want to be on the podcast?
Yeah, I'm going to be on the podcast.
You want to be on the podcast? You. But yeah, also subscribe to me on TikTok, or follow me on TikTok, I should say, at Claire Theswitch. Follow me on SoundCloud, also Claire Theswitch. And check me out on Sundays, 11 Pacific Daylight Time. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Bye! Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Claire's Based Talkathon. If you would be interested in being a guest, please email me on clairetheswitch@gmail.com. That's clairetheswitch@gmail.com.